Yeah, for winter camping, why I like the winter so much is that there's not a lot of people that do it. Nobody's crazy enough. The crowds are down, the bugs are down, the bears are asleep in their dens, and I love the silence of winter. Absolute silence. We kind of crave that nowadays. There's no place where it's not quiet, right? And so to go out there and just hear nothing. I see more wildlife in the winter, more action going on out there because you can track the animals. You just be part of your experience. And also, huge thing, it's a Canadian thing to go winter camping. That you're Canadian if you do it. If you don't, you got to get out of your comfort zone and try it because it's not that cold. You're cold when you go from your door to your vehicle because it's like cold winter. Why am I doing this? But when you're winter camping, that's not the case. You go on the trail with your freight toboggan with all your gear, and you haul all your stuff out, and you're always hot when you're hiking the trail anyway. Then you get your tent set up, and I'll live out there for like a couple of weeks and be really comfortable. And yeah, I'll go out to the car and get really cold because I'm going to work. Yeah. That's because I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different story. Well, I like your idea of the Canadian status upgrade as soon as you get up to winter camping.
Oh, the bragging rights for sure. Like the bragging rights, the whole idea of bragging rights on a winter trip is that it's minus 40 last year, right? It was minus 40 last year. So I'm out there with some buddies and we go out tripping and everybody's thinking, oh, they must be dead. There's no way they lived through this weekend. And everybody's going around freezing to death in town here and some of that. Minus 40 out there is not really that cold.
Well, everybody in town is thinking what Hollywood or what TV shows depict, which is a bunch of guys sitting around a fire with a bedroll looking up at the stars, and that's their idea of winter camping. Is that a possibility? Does that ever happen?
There's a whole bunch of ways you can winter camp. I've done them all. I've done a Quincy, which is like a basically snow cave, slept in it. It's not too bad. It's actually 10 degrees warmer inside than outside, so it's doable. It takes time to make it. Great to experience in your backyard. Build one in your backyard. Try it. If you don't like it, run in the house. Then there's the bivy bag you can use, or you can make a lean-to structure and stay in there and get a big fire going and go through the night with that. Then there's a thing called the four-season tent, which is just like a summer tent, but it's got more ventilation, so it doesn't frost up inside. And that's okay, but it's still cold. You've got no heat source to get to. So I've changed that completely. Maybe because I'm now 52 years old, or maybe because I'm a lot more wiser and intelligent than I was in my youth. But I bring what's called a prospector tent, or a lot of people call them hot tents. It's a canvas tent that sets up, and then you got your wood stove that goes in it with a pipe sticking out. You put the wood in, and it's literally a sauna in there. It's so hot. And it's 40 below outside, but it's really warm inside.
T-shirt weather.
It is. You're sitting around and you're enjoying the fire.
Speedo weather.
Yeah, Speedo. The one thing I gotta say about winter is that there's a lot of time spent in the dark because it gets dark around 5. So that's why I don't like the cold tenting. You go in there, you zip up your sleeping bag at 5:30 at night, and you're in there till 8 in the morning. Well, what are you going to do? How many books are you going to read? So if you got a hot tent with a wood stove, you got your friends, even by yourself, you got a single malt, and you play cribbage, and you really enjoy yourself and enjoy winter, and it's fantastic. I actually really, really enjoy winter camping. And people that say I don't get it, it's because they're not being comfortable out there. The idea of surviving and making a lean-to and surviving a 40 below, that's great. You'll run home and say you did it. But I think the best thing about the Kawarthas, a good story about that was it had to be like minus 44 or whatever. It was big news about how cold it was going to get. And I was on Czech's news one night talking about winter camping. And I headed out the next day and went winter camping. And then spent a couple nights, and my buddy and I are walking out of the bush, and this woman sees it. She goes, "You're the guy from Czech's. My husband was wrong. He said you were lying. He said there's no way there's anybody in the right mind would do what you do, and you just came out of the woods. There you are right there." And and it was almost like bragging right as well. And the comfort zone. Winter is a fantastic place. I think winter is a fantastic time to be out. I think also the big thing about it is if you're going to sit around and wait for winter to be over, what the heck are you living here for?